3, 2, 1. Today's podcast is presented by PODGO. PODGO is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from PODGO. We recently joined as a member and you can too. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co. Don't forget to add the 2-on-1 podcast in the How Did You Hear About PODGO section of your application. Now get ready for the rest of the episode.
Take two, Alex. We're back.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get kicked out of my own Zoom call this time, I swear.
How are you, man?
I'm excited. Busy day, right?
No, not really.
Well, not for you, I guess. Montreal signed like 3 guys.
They re-signed Xavier Ouellet and Victor Mete, but
I saw a guy they signed. I just don't remember his name.
yeah.
If I'm being honest, I'll find it.
Oh yeah, no, I remember.
It's a no name. No offense to the guy, obviously.
Brandon something.
Brandon Baddock.
Yeah,
That last name sounds familiar, but I don't want to just take a guess. So
why are you excited? What just happened a few minutes ago?
TJ Brody signed with the Leafs. I couldn't be happier here. I guess you want to start with that.
Yeah, I mean, it was about 4 minutes after Steve Danko tweeted about the anniversary of the Kadri trade, and people were saying maybe something's going to happen tonight, and he gets excited, and he's like, "Don't get my
Steven.
hopes up."
Oh, Steven.
And then all of a sudden, I get a tweet notification of Steve Dangle saying it took 4 minutes in all capitals, and I realized, I see something's happened. And then what do I see when I open Twitter? Elliot Friedman saying Brody to Toronto. I mean, talk about Brody here. All three of you, Daniel and I, had him on, a potential defenseman the Leafs could acquire. What does he bring to the Leafs? Why would you bring in TJ Brody?
Let me read you some advanced statistics.
Oh no.
Outlet pass completions, 8.6 per game. That's defensive rank of 49th. Stretch pass completions, 2.4 per game. Defensive rank, 23rd. This is the one. Defensive turnover rate, because we know how much Toronto turns over the puck. 10% per game. That ranks 9th among all defensemen.
So he's defensively responsible.
Yeah. So he can play next to more. I think the biggest thing, and I've said this about 100 times on this podcast, is they need to get someone who can play with Riley and who can properly play on the right side. Like Ron Hainsey could play defensively, okay, but it was a nightmare for him to play on the right side. Nikita Zaitsev, I don't even need to explain.
No.
Right. And I think this is by far the best partner he's had while he's played with the Leafs. I really don't have any complaints. I guess we haven't said the contract. It's 4 years at $5 million. I don't mind that deal at all. Like, it still gives them cap space to kind of move around. And I mean, they're $3 million over the cap, but it's better than what they were gonna sign Pietrangelo to, which is at least $3 million more.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is a very good point. I might as well ask you this now because the conversation, I think I was going between TSN's coverage and Sportsnet's. They mostly like TSN because I really like their setup, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I switched from TSN to Sportsnet at one point because the Pietrangelo to Toronto stuff came up. But as I switched to Sportsnet, they were having the same conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, is it fair to say that the TJ Brody signing sort of takes Toronto out of the Pietrangelo?
Yes. You don't even need to finish the sentence. Yeah.
I like that.
Absolutely.
I really like that. So then the top four for the Leafs next year, we can say, is a Riley TJ Brody sort of combination, which probably was the original plan, but Kadri nixed the deal last year. God damn,
I heard it was
your
both.
contract.
I heard it was both ways because I heard TJ Brody also had Toronto on his no trade list.
Really?
I remember reading that, and I don't want to say it's 100%. I do remember reading that at the time or whenever it came out.
Well,
So
I guess
things
$20
have
million
changed.
changed his mind.
I
And
I'd
how's
assume
this?
things. I'd assumed some things have changed. I mean, listen, they could still make another addition to the right side if they wanted to,
Mhm.
um, because they don't really have an actual right-handed defenseman or a defenseman who's played on the right side who can slot in the third pair. Right now, I was looking. I don't remember. I think it was Jonas Siegel who put it out. Had Dermott and Lettinen. Dermott on the left, Lettinen on the right. I know Lettinen's played on the right a bit in the KHL or in Sweden, but like it's not the same as playing on the right in the NHL. Like it's just a different beast.
Yeah, different rink sizes and whatnot.
I wonder. Well, I mean, they're gonna have to move someone, and I think the obvious names are Kerfoot and Janssen, and I think and I guess we'll get to it in a bit or whenever you want to. The Wayne Simmons signing, that kind of makes someone expendable on the bottom six, and I do think that is Andreas Janssen. Unfortunately,
We might as well sort of tackle all the Leaf stuff while we're
sure,
here.
let's do it because I got a bunch.
See, since he was a Flyer, when there was term still on it, when he was still 20, 30 goal Wayne Simmons,
Yeah,
there's always been whispers of him wanting to come back to Toronto. His dogs are here, and if you have a dog, you understand. I mean, look at Mike and his dog, his little German Shepherd Kilo. He wants to be with him.
yeah,
It's 1 year, 1.5 full trade protection. I think Anthony Stewart broke it. And I feel like Wayne Simmons was like, yo, this is what's up, man. Take it. And Friedman
yeah,
was just like, I'll let you take this one.
yeah.
He did take less. We will mention it now. It was between the Habs and the Leafs, and he decided, you know what? The Habs did give more money. He's like, I'm going to take a discount, and I'm going to go home. Which, I mean, if Leafs fans weren't happy enough to get Wayne Simmons, I imagine that just puts him even more into the good books. That he's taken that
Yeah.
discount,
Yeah.
especially with the top guys not doing so. He's definitely been like, you know what, guys, I'm
Well,
happy. He knows his role. What does Wayne Simmons?
Well, Tavares technically took a discount.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
TSN argues, but
Oh,
anyway,
we'll get to it. We'll get to
Simmons.
Tavares because I had that stuff because I do have some comments about that three-letter organization. Wayne Simmons here. I think we talked about it. We either talked about it last episode. I know we talked about it last night when we were texting. That Wayne Simmons on this team is max a third line player.
Mm-hmm.
Based on because I believe he plays on the right. Like I don't know if he's interchangeable. Just I've seen him on multiple occasions. He's a right winger, and I don't think like you can move Willie to the left. Whatever. He's a third line player. Like you're not. I don't think it makes sense to put him up there. In my eyes, you have two guys in Hyman and Mikheyev who fit on your top six as wingers. You're fine. He finally adds grit. Like the actual grit to this team. And Kyle Clifford did a really good job at that. My understanding was apparently Dubas offered Clifford 3 years at over $1 million and Clifford declined. So you can go whatever. Like that's fine. Nothing against Clifford. It's just, okay. Like you don't take that. You don't take it. But I do like this deal. Like it's been rumored for how many years? Like last summer, it was rumored. I don't know. Like I do enjoy the deal. He's probably a fourth line guy. You're gonna see a fourth line probably of Engvall, Spezza, Simmons, and Engvall and Spezza will interchange on that center role.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the deal. Like that guy's probably gonna beat the crap out of somebody.
He's sort of that Corey Perry, like Yanni Gore type of. You hate playing against him.
Yeah.
But he's a playoff type of player. You know, the old Bergevin saying there are players who get you to the playoffs and players that get you through the playoffs, and that's exactly what Wayne Simmons is.
I do like. I think today was a success for the Leafs in terms of free agency.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's the. I don't think Dubas is done. Like I think he's going to go out there and sign some depth pieces.
Making trades too, as you mentioned with the likes of Janssen and that.
Yeah. Can I
It
just
feels
be?
like there should be trades coming.
I think there. I have a feeling there will be trades coming. Can I just go on a bit of a tyrant here?
Is this
About what
Tavares?
it's about Tavares and it's about Amirov. Like I slept on the Amirov pick just because I'm like, okay, I didn't get the sense of how like who Amirov was, because if I'm being honest, I actually didn't know who Amirov was, and I
Watch
actually
the draft episode we did, and you get everyone's reaction on Amirov and see how I know like a lot of us knew who he was.
I didn't really know who he was, and I instead I actually did my research and found out who Amirov was.
Unlike Carlo Kaliakovo.
Oh, that was such an I'm sorry, like in my opinion, your job is to be a hockey expert and give takes based on what you know. And I understand you don't know anything at the time of sending that tweet. So learn, like go out and learn something and then give your take on it. Like I don't think that's how it works. I don't understand. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Like I get it's your first whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the Amirov pick because it's the bet. It was in Kyle Dubas's eyes. It was the best player available, and it doesn't necessarily fill the need at the moment. It's going to have to fill the need in a couple of years, which is they're going to need that you're going to have to resign Hyman, you're going to have to resign Riley, and you're going to need cheap guys on ELCs to come in. And that guy seems like a good player in the KHL.
You know what I always find interesting about the draft? And they're like, yo, this is going to address a need at 15th overall. And you think, man, it's going to take 2 or 3 years for these players.
At least.
I've always found that really interesting. It's like, they need this guy. It's like, well, yeah, but not yet. Well, no, they do, but he's not ready. It's really weird.
Yeah, like you're gonna go out there and get Braden Schneider 19 or 15th overall, hypothetically, or Caden Gooley, whichever one. And by the way, say it. It's how do you pronounce it?
So I heard it. Michel Lacroix asked Caden Gooley himself. Mike is wrong here. It's not Gould. It's pronounced Caden Gooley.
Okay.
From his mouth.
Okay. We'll get to Montreal in a bit. Those guys are not going to be ready for at least a couple of years. That lets Sandin develop. That lets Dermott develop. That gets us to see what Lettinen is. And that gets Kyle Dubas to do what he did today and sign TJ Brody. They still have Timothy Liljegren. So what need is he addressing at the moment? Nothing. He addresses nothing at the moment. He addresses an issue 3 or 4 years down the line when the Leafs prospects, just like those guys at TSN said, is like gone because, they actually developed them properly, and it puts them in a better position. Like that goalie they took in the 4th round. I want to bring this up. I somehow found him a few months ago on Hockey DB. I clicked his page by accident. I'm like, damn, that would be a good guy. That'd be a good guy for a team to pick up in the draft. And it just happened to be the Leafs. And like, that's a guy who you now have in your prospect pool.
Mm-hmm. I feel really bad for that. How do you say his name again?
Who?
That's the Russian winger we all believe he is.
Oh, Rodion Amirov?
Rodion Amirov. First of all, that's a really cool name.
It is
which
a cool name.
with me goes a long way.
Yeah.
But like, I really hope he does not have Twitter, because I saw after that, because obviously whenever we're done with the show, the first thing I do is somehow I just go on Twitter.
Yeah.
Even though we check it at the end of the show. And I was just seeing so much about this kid. And I was like, man,
they're buffoons.
Just breathe a bit.
Buffoons.
Just breathe. Okay. Do you want to get the last sort of stuff off the chef?
Should we get the John Tavares thing? I didn't even finish the clip. You did though, right?
Okay, yeah. So for context,
what a joke.
Somehow, I don't know how this happened. TSN, and it was like Craig Button. It was Mike Johnson,
Brian Hayes.
Brian Hayes, like
Carlo
all
Koliakovo.
the typical fellas. Somehow the discussion of how the Tavares signing
Yeah.
and whether it was good or bad for the Leafs came up. And I think all but one of them said it was a terrible idea. And I can't remember, was it Hayes who said it
I
was
think
good?
it was Johns. I don't know who said it was. I didn't finish the clip, Adam.
Well, anyway.
As soon as I thought they were going to say, oh, it was Mike Johnson who said, he's a good player. It's just, as the days go on, he's each day he's getting older. Thank you for explaining me. Thank you for explaining me how it works. I didn't know that's how age works.
See, it's weird because Mike Johnson is normally very good.
Yeah.
And he came in and made a save because Pierre Maguire was saying the Leafs don't know how to team build. And he's like, Tampa does. And then Mike Johnson was just like, no, I think they won because Victor Hedman's a god. And like Mike Johnson's one of my favorite people in hockey. But like, if you want to make the point where the contract, like everyone knows, like maybe those last 2 years because of like Tavares' legs are gonna not look the best. We know that. Like hockey sense doesn't go though. If you want to make a point of like the Leafs are wasting the best years of the contract, fine. But at the time, like, and even now, the Tavares contract is not what's screwing the Leafs. It is, and it's not Nylander's contract because that's a very fair market value deal.
Exactly know who it is.
The extra money from Matthews, but he's more worth it.
Yeah.
And Mitch Marner.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issues. It's not Tavares. I don't know what they're doing.
So can we go through here's an idea. The Tampa Bay Lightning, who are their tough guys? Patrick Maroon? Who's the guys that they all praised did such a good job at being grinders?
Yanni Gourde.
Okay. Yeah. So Yanni Gourde, Blake Coleman, Barclay Goodrow, Patrick Maroon, like the bottom six guys who everyone says Toronto needs to sign. They were Coleman, Goodrow, Maroon. Who else?
You could say like a guy like Luke Shen was that.
Luke Shen.
Coburn is sort of like that. Beside that, the rest of those guys are just they play hard, but they've got skill in their skill in their game.
Do you know what every single one of those players have in common?
What's that, Alex?
They weren't drafted by the damn team. None of them were drafted by the Tampa Bay Lightning. God forbid.
Drafted, period.
God forbid, except Yanni Gourde, right? Yanni Gourde, I believe he was undrafted. So they signed and developed him.
Yes.
Goodrow, Coleman, Maroon signed or traded or signed this year. Luke Shen signed this year. Who did I miss? Coburn. Coburn was traded to the team in 2015. God forbid Kyle Dubas drafts a skilled player in the first round. God forbid. I have it here. I did some research. Remember the names I asked you to come up with? Yeah. This is what it was for.
Just give you tough guys, yeah?
Yeah. 2 of them were drafted in the first round. Tom Wilson, who's actually kind of okay at the game, and Corey Perry, who again is also kind of good at the game, in his prime.
That's right? A former Hart winner.
Okay. Reeves, 5th round. Josh Anderson, 4th round. Lucic, Simmons, Clifford McQuaid, all 2nd round. God forbid Kyle Dubas drafts a forward in the first round who is skilled. God. So it's honestly so annoying. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Then we good to go on with the signings.
Oh, can we do? I didn't finish the Tavares thing. I just realized. I think it's really ignorant. That's such an ignorant way of looking at it because, okay, Tavares put up 47 goals in his first year, and everyone was kissing his ass. This year he has a child, so I think we brought this up on the podcast. Probably he's losing some sleep. Let's just be real.
Let me ask the source. Hey, Mom, how difficult is it having a child?
It's more difficult on the woman than the man.
Well, sleep schedule wise, though, how terrible is it?
Your sleep schedule's all over the place.
Exactly.
The first
Sleep
years,
schedule's all over the place.
right. Okay, so probably not getting a lot of sleep.
Alex, have
And
you ever like not gotten your 8 hours and you're
last
wrapped
night,
the rest of the day?
all of
Imagine,
today,
and now imagine the physical toll of sports and
right?
like the travel.
And
And you broke your thumb at one point and had to come back play.
right, and I can almost promise the way he played, he looked like he came back early. But no,
Yes.
John Tavares is the problem with this team. If it wasn't for John Tavares, this team would be a cup contender. Okay, I'm saying it right now.
They could have given that money to to a guy. I don't know, like who just name me a tough guy who was like Corey Perry. Give him 6.
You know what? They could have given Wayne Simmons $10 million instead of the 5 that New Jersey gave him.
Yeah. Well,
That's it for me. That's it.
Are
I'm
we
done.
good? We good? To
Yeah,
keep going?
yeah. I don't have anything else to say about Toronto.
First off, can we talk about how boring the draft and free agency was in general?
Well, the first day of the draft was like literally the only trades that happened were trading down.
But even like the second day of the draft took so long. Normally it's a
That is
blitz. I remember last year when I was not last year, like the first year I was in Montreal, my family and I went out to breakfast.
Yeah.
And I remember the second round had just started, and by the time I had ordered my like cheese crepe, it was in the third round. And like this place is like 2 minutes up the road. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's happening here? Because it's just normally blitz. But I think it was on till like 7:00.
It was. I watched almost the entire thing, and I couldn't give you a reason why.
I stopped like halfway. Once the Habs selected Jan Mysak, I was like, all right, I'm out of this.
You know what I think?
I'll look at it after.
You know what I think they did wrong is that like usually in the draft, I don't think they bring up a team guy to announce every pick. Right. I believe it's Bill Daly who just says, okay, the Detroit Red Wings with the 33rd overall pick select whoever.
Exactly.
This time. So it was Brian Lawton, Adnan Virk, and Dave Reed. Dave Reed's the guy I thought I recognized. I have no idea who he was.
On the NHL Network broadcast.
Yeah. Who I think the fact that they went from 11:30 to like 7:00, like, man, I praise them for that.
They were joking about getting out of there at 1.
Yeah, good one. So they were talking, then that went to Bill Daly, and then Bill Daly said, we have the 33rd overall pick, the Detroit Red Wings will select, and then he threw it to Detroit. Like, come on.
It was even the first round when Batman kept doing it, and I remember like it's amazing how quickly Bergevin was at the podium to select Goalie. And it was just like we're waiting for like the analyst. It was like they were waiting for whoever was on TV to finish their bit, throw it to Gary. With this selection, we had like just hurry up. It's like when Gary gives his long-winded speeches when he gives the cup. Gary, no one cares. Just give them the cup and get out of there. You're not the star of the show.
Do you want to talk about the two, I guess, significant trades that went down at the draft?
Sure. I mean, what even was it? Like Bonino and
Bonino let me pull it up. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It was Bonino, a couple picks for Luke Cunnin, and that tells you how much I remember from this draft.
Those were the names. Picks become very messy at the draft because it's not even like secondary. It's like 47. All this kind.
Here I got so the Minnesota Wild acquired Nick Bonino and a second round pick, which was 37th overall, and a third round pick, which was 70th overall, for the signing rights of Luke Cunnin, and a 2020 fourth round pick, which was 101st.
I know Minnesota wants centermen, but they just keep bringing in a bunch of centermen that are kind of like meh.
Wasn't Luke Cunnin a centerman?
I think he was.
Like, I know here it has him as a right winger center, so I have a feeling that maybe he's right wing dominant.
Yeah,
but
he has. I think he's tried, and it's kind of like the Galchenyuk stuff of like we don't trust him.
Yeah, like I think it makes sense for. There's a part of me that says it makes sense for both teams because I think that Nashville needs to try something different. And
They're
they
clearing
did,
cap.
and they did clear cap, obviously buying out Steve Santini for, I don't think there was much there anyways. And Kyle Turris, which is like $2 million for the next 8 years, which is loads of fun. And I think, maybe getting younger or bringing in some like new blood would be kind of helpful for the team.
They do need to shake up.
Actually, I think Luukkonen is a center because he took like almost 500 faceoffs, which is the most in his career.
So it's more just, let's bring in playoff Nick Bonino, who hasn't been a playoff performer since his time in Pittsburgh.
I'm not entirely sure. Like I guess there's the Bonino Bill Guerin connection, but that's okay. It's only a problem when nerds do it, right? Just to be clear, when they bring in their old guys.
People realize how stupid hockey men really are.
Well, no, it's only an issue when, right? It's only an issue when someone outside of that group does it. It's ridiculous.
What was the second deal? Elias Anderson?
No, the second deal was Matt Murray.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty big. I remember I had him on the notes as Matt Murray's now a Sen.
Yeah.
And then I moved it because I put him to free agency. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They got him for nothing.
A second round pick and Jonathan Gruden, which is a 4th round pick. I believe he's in the AHL now, anyways.
And with all the pick the Sens have, that's.
And the funny thing was the Penguins picked a goaltender with the 52nd overall pick.
Oh no!
Joel Blomqvist.
Ottawa had a sneaky, really good weekend.
Yeah,
They
did.
They
did. Except, I mean, there's a couple moves I would have criticized, but it's really not that big a deal. What I know you're very critical of Matt Murray, and I don't think he's the goalie that he was, but I think, in my opinion, I think he's gone through some personal struggles. And then I also don't think it helps that you kind of kicked out a franchise goaltender with that team. So I think you have the fan base against you too.
Yeah.
So I really do think that a fresh start, and I think it's funny. There's a couple goalies that moved today that a fresh start would be really good for them. And Matt Murray's one of them. That fresh start. And what are your expectations in Ottawa?
See, are they going to be good? Probably not.
No.
But last year they were very much like, they were fun.
Yeah.
They were bad, but it's like, you know what? They're watchable bad. I think it's going to be more the same. I mean, they got rid of one of their best defensive guys in Mark Voretsky.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they did.
But Matt Murray had to deal with
Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson, who's now a Ranger. So, like expectations, you know what? When I saw a video chat with Matt Murray about it, I noticed, man, he looks exhausted. I don't know if he was just partying the day before. Hopefully not, because COVID. Ontario just got a new high.
Oh yeah.
I think it'll benefit him. Yeah.
What do you think of the deal?
Okay. Is it 4 or 5 years?
4.
I thought it's 4.
4 years,
Okay.
6.25.
I think it's fair. Because because his arb rights would have put him around there anyway.
Right.
And I mean, regardless of like the opinions I've had of the guy, he has pedigree behind him, and it feels like he's been around the league forever. He's still really young, and goalies have this weird thing of just like, normally they take a lot longer to develop unless there are a few obvious cases where it's like, Carey Price at like 22, but I think I hope he sort of returns to previous form when he got to win 2 Stanley Cups as a rookie, technically, because that's fun. Good pickup for Ottawa and good for Matt Murray for a new thing, new change of scenery. I hope.
Absolutely.
Eric Carlson loved it there. I'm sure Ottawa's nice and peaceful, especially because none of the fans are around there. So, yeah. We should probably. I think it'd be remiss to not just mention Like, well wishes, best wishes to Guy Lafleur, who unfortunately once again is fighting cancer.
Yeah.
I
Did we talk? Was it
it
on
is.
last episode or was it not?
I don't know. I don't think
Yeah.
so because I know Mike like texted when it came out.
Right.
You know, of the original sort of like Ken Dryden is obviously still with us, but of like the flying Frenchman of Habs greats, you know, they just lost Henri Richard. Maurice Richard's unfortunately been gone for a few years. He is sort of one of the last, like, of the greats that are still there. Patrick Wall's a bit different because the guy retired like in like the early 2000s and
Yeah.
he's coaching in that, but you just like just well wishes to the guy because he's always the Habs alumni have always tried their best to be around the team, and I think it does wonders for those guys in the room to be able to walk and see these guys. Like, man, that's Guy Lafleur. That's our franchise's leading scorer right there. That means something. So I really hope the guy recovers. In like the Q&A thing I was at yesterday, of course Jeff Molson, everyone said like well wishes to the guy. So just hang in there, Guy. We love you. We
Yeah.
love you so much. He's got a statue from the Bell Center. He's one of the greats. Alex, I wanna ask you one thing though, very quickly. How much does
Okay.
Carey Price make a year?
10 point something.
So I was watching Free Agency earlier, and I just thought you'd like a little joke of this. And like I'm obviously watching with my mom, and she's like, "How much does Carey Price make?" I'm like, "He makes $10 million." She's like, "That's what I thought." And like, she's like, "That's a good deal." I'm like, well, "What do you mean?" She's like, "So over the 8 years, he makes 10 million." I'm like, "No,
Oh.
no, no, no. He
I
makes
can't do the-
$84 million.
I can't do the math in my head, but it's a lot more than $10 million.
It's like 1.7 or something. I'd be like, yeah, sure, that's great.
I wish. Well, not
His
everyone.
signing
Not
bonus is
listen.
13 million.
Not everyone can be like David Pastrnak and just play for the love of the game, right?
Man, Carey did not do this team any favor. He's just like, you know what? I want my
Absolutely,
money. I want my
absolutely
money.
not.
I'll tell you one
Why should
goalie
he?
who I feel kind of bad for.
Let's
Corey
hear it.
Schneider got bought out. But you know what? During the bubble and the playoffs and that, there were a few games that I caught the NBC streams of, and he
Yeah.
was there doing analysis, and he was really good.
I mean, apparently he still wants to play. So
Really,
yeah.
I don't think that's Corey. No,
No. Let's see.
I think you look good in the suit, buddy. Don't worry
His
about it.
his buyout's $2 million for the next 4 years. I don't necessarily think that's such a bad thing.
Better than 6 million.
Yeah. Honestly, like I don't really think that's a bad thing. They still haven't hit the cap floor.
Really?
Well, I mean, they got a couple things. I guess they still have to re-sign Mackenzie Blackwood and Jesper Bratt, and they still got to like actually fill out a roster here. But
It's funny. They still have Subban on the books for another year.
yeah, 9 million, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. We can mention some troubled souls here very quickly. Jesse Puljujärvi signed and is coming back to Edmonton. And at the same time, Elias Anderson has been traded from the Rangers during the draft to the Kings, another young sort of reclamation project for the Kings. What do you make of these this pair of moves?
The Elias Anderson trade wasn't really much of a surprise to me. Like we all knew they were going to move him out. It was just a matter of what team was kind of going to take him on. He didn't really want to be there anymore. I'm interested to see what happens in LA. Cause yes, they have a lot of centers in LA, right? Like Kopitar, now Byfield, Gabe Velarde, Akil Thomas. I mean, I think they might even throw him in the NHL. Like, I don't see why they don't try throwing him in the NHL next year or whenever he comes back. I don't remember if his loan is for the full year as well. To go to Jesse Puljujärvi, I mean, that guy, I'm going to pull up how he played in, I believe, in Liga last year. In 56 games with Karpat, 53 points.
Hey, going home and having a great season, I imagine that does wonders for your confidence.
Absolutely. And I think what's going to be, what's going to be an underrated third line next year? And it could be underrated if the guys perform. Tyler Ennis, Kyle Turris, Jesse Puljujarvi.
Yeah. Turris is, let's mention him now, signed a 2-year, by the way, a lot of 2-year deals today. If anyone's wondering why. Seattle,
Expansion.
you need that.
Expansion, yeah. And
Kyle
a lot
Turris,
of backloaded deals. Sorry.
yes.
Yeah.
Kyle Turris, 2-year deal, 1.65 AAV. And a lot was made of Kyle Turris is playing Nashville because Laviolette just didn't agree with him. And, obviously John Hines and the rest of the team, didn't perform for the rest of the season. But under the Oilers system, Kyle Turris could be great. And you know what? I am rooting for this guy because he is such a nice human being. I remember when he got traded out of Ottawa, all the talk was about how much community work this guy did.
Yeah.
Kyle Turris, third line center.
I think he'll be great for the room and on the ice for the team. Like, unfortunately, Andreas Athanasiou didn't work out as Connor McDavid's winger or really as third line. Like, he kind of did work as third line center, but then you're going to pay him $3 million or whatever his QO was. And now he's UFA. I still think that was obviously, who would have guessed Mike Green was going to retire? But now you gave up 2 second-round picks for 20 games of Athanasiou. I think poor asset management. Maybe he'll come back, but I think a team will take him on. But yeah, man, like I think that Kyle Turris deal, he fits as third line center for that team, and good for them, I guess.
I'm wondering, Alex, because free agency, there are still a lot of names out there.
There are a lot of names.
Only like one of the big five, and we'll talk about Markstrom later, signed today. I wonder how many guys aren't going to have a place to play this year. And it sucks. It's kind of going to be like the lockout and everyone has to go overseas.
Well, I think if we go down the list, I think we're going to find some guys. Like, what happened, and I think what kind of threw a wrench into the mix is that a lot of guys did not get qualifying offers. And that heavily expanded the UFA pool. And now people are like, okay, like let's swoop in, grab that guy on the cheap. Like a guy like Vinny Hinostroza, right? I believe he wasn't qualified. Florida picked him up for $1 million for 1 year. But like that was the guy I was telling you last night. Like I think that's a good guy the Leafs could pick up. Like that's a great bottom six player on your team.
Florida did a couple moves today. They signed Radko Gudas for 3 years, 2.5 per. They got Alex Wenberg for a year, less than $3 million there. And then Vinny Hinostroza. They do have work to do, but I think they did some really safe and brought in some good players.
They did. Well, they brought in. I want to make sure he's not right-handed here. Marcus Nudivara, that they brought in yesterday for a 5th round pick or whatever, which was absolutely nothing. That could potentially finally be a guy for Aaron Ekblad.
You're gonna get Daniel excited when he's listening to that.
It's just an idea. Like I think they have, Mackenzie Weegar still in RFA, and I know there's Leaf fans saying, "Hey, bring Mackenzie Weegar in." Bill Zito's quote was, "He's a Florida Panther." So I don't really know what's going on that front, but I think their D is better than what it was. Like Radko, I don't know, but listen, the Radko Gudas 2.5 for 3 years. Are you comfortable paying a third pair guy $2.5 million?
Not in this economy. Not in this currency.
Right? And I think that's what they did.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not like that's a tricky deal to look at, especially because you lost Hoffman and Dadonov. for me at least, right? That it's just an iffy deal to see, and they could go back and sign one of those guys. I do like the Hinostroza. I said I like. I'm interested in the Wenberg deal at $5 million or 4.9. Not a big fan of at 2.25 as a third line guy. I believe he'll be third. Will he be third line on this team? Probably, unless I'm insane.
Yeah. Barkov.
Well, I mean, I don't know what their plans are. I don't think they're done. And I think there's one position where they do need to solidify, and that is goaltending. You have Sergei Bobrovsky at $10 million. You can't really do much there. I don't know if Chris Drieger is enough. I'm sorry.
In the games he played,
I guess. Okay, so Drieger played 12 games this year, 2.04 goals against average, 938 save percentage. Yes, you need someone to play, unless Sergei Bobrovsky comes next year, and I wouldn't be surprised because the guy's on and off every other year. But you do need someone to play a little more next to Sergei Bobrovsky. And I don't know how many games Chris Drieger could do that for.
Well, I mean, really, he's the perfect guy to give a chance to when you maybe get a Grice to go help him out. But then it's just, but Bobrovsky is just there, and he is just, a lot of money. I think they're called thromps from Mario. They're the big spiky block things. That's what Sergei Bobrovsky is.
Sure, yeah.
He's just
I guess I'll go.
Deadly block that you can't move. You just have to try and navigate around.
Okay, I'll go with that. Just to go back on the Leafs thing, I have a quote. Duba said the Brody acquisition will be the biggest signing the Leafs make in free agency. So just to put that out there. Not a surprise. I want to put that out there.
So Pietrangelo now.
I mean, yeah. I guess that's just Dubas confirming that.
Unless is TJ Brody taller? No, I'm not gonna.
Stop it. Leave me alone.
I'm not gonna.
Is he taller? Does he weigh over 200 pounds?
No, Pietrangelo is a monster though. He is.
He is.
Beefy boy.
He is.
Another beefy boy we can talk about. Josh Anderson, my boy.
Yeah, let's talk about him. I was
coming back around to the deal. I'm like, I like this trade. It sucks. I'm sorry, Domi, but we have the centerman. We're fine. I'm like, man, maybe Josh Anderson can get some of a shorter term deal. And then the Habs are like, you know what? Berserman once in a while, it's like, yeah, I'm going on a nice streak here. Then he brings Edmondson for 3.5. And you're like, all right. I mean, worst thing, but it's fine. Well, you can deal with it. The left side's a monster thing. It's big a bunch of tough boys. I like it.
Was Anderson 7? Did he get a 7-year deal?
Just give me a second.
I'm just to confirm. Was it 6 or 7 years?
It was 7.
Oh boy, I got a comparison.
Oh no, maybe Burrs is gonna turn it around here because when he starts going one direction, he goes that direction. And he decides to go full Tom Wilson deal, and he gave Josh Anderson a 7-year contract worth $5.5 million AAV, making him tied for Jonathan Drouin as the Montreal Canadiens' top paid forward.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing.
I got a great comparison after.
This. Don't say David Clarkson. It's too easy.
Oh, it is.
And this is a massive, massive asterisk.
Mm-hmm.
This deal could be worth it, but it is a very big ticket. It's putting a lot on one. What's that game roulette or whatever?
Russian
you're putting
roulette?
A lot of money onto one specific. Let's say you're putting it on red,
mm-hmm.
when there is a very good chance the ball lands on black. This is now. Luckily, the way this contract is structured, it's very buyout friendly.
Wait, Adam.
Yeah.
Is it a bloody big deal?
Bloody big ticket, Mike.
I love that.
would be. I mean, like Anderson, he's had 2 media availabilities, and he sounded like he's confident. He's like, I'm gonna prove everyone wrong, and God, I hope he does. But man, that's a lot of money.
Let me set up a scenario for you here.
Sure.
The year is 2013. Shortened season, actually. Funny enough, they only played 48 games.
Yeah.
An unsuspected team makes the playoffs. The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, James Reimer was pretty good. Unfortunately, they lost to the Boston Bruins in Game 7. The score was 4-1. So Dave Nonis, general manager at the time, better than a potato or worse than a potato? Worse.
Worse, yes.
Worse. Said we need to be tougher. Trades for Dave Bolland, who just scored the game-winning goal at the 2013 Stanley Cup Final to beat the Boston Bruins.
That's great. I like that.
Yeah. And then he goes on, Dave Nonis again, says, we're going to acquire, we need to be tougher, right? This is how we're going to get better because our team wasn't garbage enough. They said, you know what? One guy's going to fix this all. His name was David Clarkson.
Yes. Famous deal.
7 years. 7 years as well. I'm going to find out how old he was when he signed this deal.
Okay.
7 years, $5.25 million instead of 5.5.
Okay.
Now, let me just double check the trade protection because if it is almost the same, it is almost the same, Adam. Almost the same. This is a story.
And for years 2 through 7 has a modified no trade clause.
Yeah. Clarkson had a no trade clause and a no move clause for the entire duration. So almost the same.
Yes.
This could either be really good or it can end up like David Clarkson.
See, what I will say is, and believe it or not, I have actually gone back before and I've watched the year with the Devils where Clarkson scored that week. It was like 30 goals.
Sure. Yeah, I think
I've actually gone back and watched that.
Okay. Why would you do that to yourself?
Back, and I don't know how it happened. And I've actually gone back and watched Josh Anderson's like 27 goal season. And the difference I'll notice here is David Clarkson, of course, it was all go to the net. Oh, hey, tap in there. Josh Anderson does do that, though. What I have seen is there is a certain amount of finesse to his game. There is some skill and there's a good shot there.
Yeah. No, Adam, listen, I just wanted to put that. I think Josh Anderson's by far the better player. I just wanted to put that scenario out there for you.
Yeah. Listen, he'll probably be second line. And I was doing some line stuff. I feel like there might be a line of Jonathan Drew and Nick Suzuki and Josh Anderson. Oh. And saying that, I was like,
oh,
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's good. But man, again, I hope in my whole hearts that this is a good deal for Josh Anderson. So, that's great for him. It's fantastic for Josh Anderson.
It is absolutely beautiful.
I hope he flourishes here because as I think I tweeted out, like you got your money and now you have to prove it. And to his credit, he very much acknowledged it on his. He was prepared to answer any sort of criticism there. He made sure to emphasize he was healthy and all of that with his media availability. And I guess in the same breath, we should mention that young Max Domi has re-signed with the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's a 2-year deal, which interestingly enough walks him right to free agency.
When he will sign a 5-year deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm just joking.
Of course. $5.3 million is the AAV for that deal. And Alex, I don't think he's going to re-sign in Columbus when that's done. Like Max Domi wants to play in the big market. And I think Darren Ferris right there was like, right, let's go. All right. We're going to be in the real market after this, buddy.
I'd be surprised if he signed in Columbus again. But I think if Columbus makes some moves, and I feel like they're trying here, like you don't ship out, and I guess we already said Marcus Nuyvara. They also traded Ryan Murray for another 5th round pick
Nothing. And he's really good.
Yeah. I mean, he's injury prone, but I don't see how that gets just a 5th round pick, in my opinion. I feel like they're gonna make an offer to Taylor Hall. And honestly, by the time this episode, like you listen to this, literally things could change in an hour.
Funny
But I
about
doubt
that,
it.
Elliot Friedman saw an NHL network. There were about
Oh.
20 teams. Torey Krug to St. Louis. Elliot Friedman said hearing Torey Krug to St. Louis.
Shut up.
7 years, 6.5 from Pierre LeBrun.
7 years, 6.5. So you're telling? Wait. What the hell? Are you joking?
No, go on Twitter. It's there.
Oh, I see it.
Holy
Oh,
crap.
okay. Just explain this to me.
Trangelo to Boston.
Explain this to me like I'm 5 years old. Torey Krug got offered 6 years at 6.5 in Boston, where he's played and where he's flourished.
Mhm.
And now he's going to go to St. Louis for the extra year.
Correct.
I don't know if that's I mean, it's not a mistake on Krug's part. No. Why wouldn't you offer him the 7th year?
If you're Boston?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What is their resistance to signing this guy? Unless you have to give up, you do have to give up assets, but you have to give up minimal assets to get OEL. But you're literally saving just under $2 million in cap space.
Well, they from what the reports were saying, it was very much a take it or leave it. This is the last sort of deal here, Torey.
I guess, yeah. That's insane. I can't believe it broke on the show.
And
That's it. That's incredible.
I guess that means, by the way, that Petrangelo's gone.
Oh, yeah. He's gone.
Yeah.
They literally re-signed Torey Krug with exactly his salary this year.
I can't wait to see that Torey Krug got a bunch of signing bonuses. That's gonna be hilarious. Probably not, but like Jesus. What were we even talking?
So what does that leave the St. Louis Blues with? They're going to be Krug, Parayko, Dunn, Falk,
Yeah.
Scandella, whoever the hell.
See, with Krug, it's really funny that if Petrangelo, do you remember? Let me give you a little scenario here. I've just signed with the Anaheim Ducks. I was once highly coveted as a left-handed offensive defenseman, but I was shielded by the likes of Colin Parayko and Alex Petrangelo. Who am I? I just won the Stanley Cup as well.
Kevin Shattenkirk.
And the talk about Torey Krug has very much been like maybe he looks a little better because he plays with Chara.
He
Carlo.
doesn't play.
No, I'm sorry, around them though, and maybe maybe Torey Krug kind of gets exposed here, and in a few years, and it's almost a Shattenkirk deal. Like what was his 5 or 6 and $6.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, that's the second of the top 5 gone. It's him and Markstrom now.
Jeez, that's
How do you feel?
I mean, Torey Krug's out of the East.
That is good. Man,
Right?
listen to this. This is the third 7-year contract Doug Wilson has given as GM of the St. Louis Blues. The previous were Alex Petrangelo and Justin Falk. Both of those 7-year contracts have the same $6 million cap as well. Hold on a minute. This is the third 7-year. Oh no, Tarasenko was 8. Also, that's really funny that you got Krug and Falk, and poor Petrangelo is gone.
That's an absolute shame how they've treated this man.
Yeah, they really did Petrangelo dirty.
You really think Justin Falk is that much better? What's the difference there? Astounding difference.
That when he was on the ice for Carolina, the team save percentage was significantly lower than that of some of his line mates. And he hasn't put up the same offensive numbers that he did back then either, when he was like a power play goal scoring god.
Listen, I get Alex Pietrangelo's going to be 31 when the season starts, but come on.
He's really good. He's probably the second best defenseman in the league.
Honestly, yeah. Like,
God,
probably. Yeah, behind Victor
Um,
Hedman.
I would say
Jeez, that was that's an
the
interesting.
longest term deal we've had today. Second was Jacob Markstrom, who apparently turned down a max 7-year deal for $6 million from Edmonton, goes to Calgary, $6 million for 6 years, Alex.
That's the better choice.
And I believe he is 30 years old.
I believe so as well. Is it weird for me to say that Calgary is the better choice?
See, I was about to just straight away say yes, and I remembered, man, McDavid and Draisaitl.
Adam, I agree. I remember what I said at the beginning of this 3 years ago. It feels like now. The same issue that this team has not changed. If anything, it's going to get worse because Oscar Klefbom's going to be out potentially for the entire season with after having that surgery. Mike Smith gone, and he wasn't even that good. Sorry.
So he's terrible. Yeah.
Sorry. Like, you haven't improved your defense. Oliver Ekman-Larsson wouldn't come to your team. You couldn't get Jacob Markstrom was offered an extra $6 million. Like, you offered him $6 million more than Calgary, and he still rejected you.
Torey Krug takes an extra year, and Markstrom gives away another because he doesn't want to play.
Don't you see there's an issue?
This is massive. Let's talk about the team that he decided to go to here. And boy, doesn't this add another layer to the Battle of Alberta? 6 years is a lot, yes.
Yeah.
But it is free agency. And if anyone had a question about the top guys still getting paid, well, there's your answer. No, they will not be affected. But Calgary get the best goalie since Mika Kiprusoff. I heard today, and I was like, "Oh, that's a name I haven't heard for a while because he played when I was a kid."
Before I have a question for you because I've been thinking about this ever since I saw.
I did shave my mustaches, filling in, Alex. Thank you for noticing. What's your question?
I forgot it. I actually forgot the question.
I mean, what Markstrom, elite goalie, woo! Him and Big Save Dave. You love to see it.
It'll come back to me. Good God, that was sorry. I don't know what happened there. Do you think? Oh, here it is. Do you think the Robin Leonard deal changed what Markstrom's market was? Because I think, and I don't know if you would agree with me, I think Robin Leonard was worth more than $5 million a year.
Oh yeah,
right.
Especially what he did in the playoffs, he was great.
Do you think Markstrom's market was affected by him signing that deal? Because I do.
I mean, he still got $6 million per. I mean, I don't think he was ever going to get 7, but I thought he'd get I didn't think he'd get 6 times 6. I think it could have been if Edmonton didn't come in and say, "Hi there, I'll give you whatever you want." Hi.
Yeah.
Like Edmonton ruined it.
I can't believe, you know what I'd be really interested in finding out, and I don't think we're ever gonna hear about this unless these guys go on Spin Chicklets once they retire. What is the thought process on not wanting to play, not going to a market that has Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, and knowing that if both OEL and Markstrom signed or were put into Edmonton, how much better it would make that team?
Oh, they could, even if you know the supporting cast, that core, I'd say, okay, all right, you could probably win the cup.
Why don't you want to sign there? I really want to know because it's going to fuel my ego.
I mean, Sweden, people go skiing in Sweden, right? They're used to the cold.
But Adam, they offered him an.
Swedes.
I know, but they offered him an extra.
Nice.
They offered him an extra $6 million. And he still said no. And said, no, I'm going to move down the street to Calgary. In
You think-
Marksham's case.
You think McDavid, who will say this one more time, hope you're doing well because he got tested
Of
positive
course.
for COVID. How do you think he feels when he's at home? He's not probably feeling that well, because your team didn't make the playoffs again, and like you see within a few days, like you couldn't bring this defenseman in, and this goalie has just gone to your biggest rival. He's gotta be. We're talking about Eichel wanting out. I mean, the Oilers still aren't taking any steps forward.
I call Ken Holland if I'm McDavid and say, what the bleep is going on?
Where is my help?
Kyle Turris, like, you know what? If they're smart, they try Jesse Puljujarvi with Connor McDavid, because at the moment, that's the only help they have.
Sorry we made that about Edmonton, Calgary, but I mean, it's just you got your goalie.
I think Calgary and Edmonton saved Vancouver from signing a poor deal, because it would have screwed them over. It would have screwed them over.
You know who I realized he didn't write down?
Braden
Holtby. 2-year deal.
Let's talk about Braden Holtby.
Yeah, he's not good anymore, but
I think this is a similar situation to Matt Murray, is that he needs a change. I think he needs a change of scenery, and I think things will be different in Vancouver.
needs to stay away from the pool parties.
Yeah, that would be a
Good
smart
for Demko,
idea.
Though. That's a decent mentor. Vesna
That
winner,
is.
Cup champion.
On
I believe Holtby's a BC boy.
no, he is from Alberta, I believe.
Close enough.
Lloydminster. That's all. I don't know which province that's in.
What?
I probably
That
apologize.
sounds like a tractor company.
The only better mentor
He's from
on
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan. Sorry. The only better mentor on the market, I would say, would have been Henrik Lundqvist. So
Signed with Washington.
that's really smart of Washington. Clearly they don't have that much faith. They don't have as much faith as we all thought they did in Phoenix Copley, which is unfortunate. Great name, but just unfortunate.
No. Phoenix? Man.
But I think Henrik Lundqvist, like we've talked about, is still good enough to be a 1B.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, I don't know what you have in Ilya Samsonov. If Ilya Samsonov isn't good enough, I think you can still trust Lundqvist in some sort of 1A capacity. If you need him to be, I wouldn't suggest to start with it, but my opinion.
By the way,
Yeah. Oh no. Oh
I just
no.
saw a tweet.
Oh
No signings. Don't worry. I wasn't gonna be like,
Oh.
Hall
Is it
went to the Bruins.
Is it the Pierre LeBrun tweet?
What Pierre LeBrun tweet?
Hearing that the Bruins didn't make an offer to Krug today.
Hey, that's not good. But because Pete Blackburn just tweeted, well, you need to add something on offense now.
Huh?
Because the offense torque sort of brings, man. If you want to win, is there an organization beside Colorado that Taylor Hall could probably look at and say, yeah,
The Boston Bruins.
we don't want it to happen because the Bruins.
God, I hope not. So here's what happened. This is my prediction. This is if he signs with the Bruins, if Taylor Hall signs a short-term deal, they're not going to sign him to a long-term deal. That's very unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Hall signs like a 2-year deal with the Boston Bruins. They trade Jake DeBrusk, a first-round pick. No, not even first-round pick. Jake DeBrusk, prospect, and like a second to Arizona for OEL.
Just because they the trade
Because they
did not
can.
happen,
Because
so-
they can.
Tyler Johnson got put on waivers, and that was
Oh,
probably the most shocking thing that happened today.
shenanigans about to go down in Tampa Bay and Detroit.
So he still got a lot of money and some term on his deal. Him and his agent did give Julian Breezeball and Tampa Bay some teams to work with. Obviously, they couldn't get it done. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with how waivers work, because we're not in a new season, the way the order goes when it comes to claiming a player on waivers is everyone can put a claim in. But the person who or the team that will get the player on waivers is based on reverse order of the standings.
I love it. I love
The
it.
former Tampa Bay general manager Steve Eiserman and the Detroit Red Wings get first dibs.
I love this. And the best part is so Freeman talked about it on the last 31 Thoughts podcast, because there was rumors going around that Patrick Hornquist was going to be put on waivers if they couldn't get that deal done, and that Pittsburgh was going to claim that Florida was going to claim Hornquist. He then said that there's rumors going around Tyler Johnson's going to be put on waivers, but it's just the conspiracy theorists. And now it's bloody happened.
I love it. I kind of love it. Oh man, that's great. But you know what? I think Tyler Johnson. Right? I was like, oh no, Detroit. But then like Bobby Ryan signed in Detroit too, and one of the things he talked about was like talking to Eiserman was like, yeah, I'll come to a team that had a goalie who only had 2 wins on it. So I think Tyler Johnson's gonna be like, Stevie, my man, how's it going? Thanks for that deal you gave me. Wasn't enough though, because waivers are BS.
I think he'll slot right behind Dylan Larkin perfectly.
Yeah, good player. Stanley Cup champion.
Exactly.
And now you're on Detroit. Sorry, dude. Stanley Cup champions, though. To win the Stanley Cup, you need big name players. And I almost said we lost one of them. He hasn't died. Justin Williams has retired.
Yeah.
But
unfortunate.
I think he actually has retired. Mr. Game 7, Conn Smythe winner, multiple time Stanley Cup champion with the Kings, won it with Carolina. Congratulations, Justin.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I got distracted. I have a Pierre LeBrun tweet you're absolutely going to want to hear.
Okay. Hey, Justin, stay retired. Carolina don't need you unless you only come to Montreal on the cheap. Welcome to have you. What's the tweet?
Don't think Pietrangelo had closed the door on the Blues, so I think the Krug signing would have caught him by surprise.
Oh no!
On the flip side, the Blues probably felt they couldn't wait too long and miss out on a top end replacement. Vegas obviously looked like a strong option for Petro.
Elliot also tweeted out 15 seconds ago. Boston GM Don Sweeney delayed his media availability today. We will see what's up because, and you mentioned this earlier, Bruins did not make an offer to Krug as indicated. That's its previous offer, 6 times 6.6. Was no longer on the table. Bruins must have something going on. Don't bring in Taylor Hall.
I think Boston's about to make some moves.
Speaking of moves, I like moves. I like trades.
Yeah.
The Golden Knights dumped some salary by trading Paul Stastny with a year left on his deal to the team his dad played for, and he himself played for a little stretch, the Winnipeg Jets.
Hallelujah.
I don't know. Because he's old.
I understand.
Foot speed.
I understand. Can he pass the puck well?
I hope so.
That's all that matters. If I'm Patrick Laine, if I'm Kevin Cheveldayoff, can this man pass the puck well? Yes? Okay. He's your second line center.
Just give it to Ehlers. He'll skate it up as he's trying to catch up. Laine gets open. Boom, it's in.
Boom. Exactly. You have a plan. I think this is more of a stopgap, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we were texting last night because they didn't expect Perfetti to drop to 10, which was an absolutely stunning pick for Winnipeg. How many years do you think it's going to take Perfetti to be in the NHL?
I mean, with all the stuff around him, if he's here next year, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's fair.
I mean,
If
2
not-
years if you're conservative about it.
Exactly. If not next year, the year after. So I think he's more of a stopgap than he is a long-term replacement. And I think them bringing back Paul Stastny and getting Perfetti changed a lot of things.
Okay. Quickly.
Yeah.
Just going to some draft talk quickly. I wanted to mention, I teased it last episode, season ticket Hab stuff, got to do
Yeah.
that little Q&A. So it was told to us that these are the people who are going to be on it. We got this email day of it. Caden Gooley, Jeff Molson, Trevor Timmons, assistant general manager of the Montreal Canadiens. He's been there 18 years, fun fact.
Wow.
And Marc Bergevin. Now, and hosted by Michel Lacroix, in-ring announcer. In arena dude, the French
Yeah.
guy who's really great. So it starts with Caden Gooley. He's fantastic. Weber's already called him, all right. Jeff Molson comes in. He congratulates him and all this. Great business. Trevor Timmons comes in and Molson comes back and Trevor's getting nervous because the boss is there. And Bergevin didn't show up. And I thought he must have something in the works.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything today.
Well, he signed Victor Mete.
Yeah. And Xavier Ouellet.
That's why he was very busy. Very, very busy. Okay.
So remember there was that report about Montreal would only trade the pick if a certain guy didn't fall to them?
Yeah.
So Trevor Timmons was talking about how they had their eye on Gooley for a while. And he said something very interesting. He's like, we were surprised he was still there.
That's your guy.
And I was like, I see. And I was like, okay, I see what you're doing here, Trevor.
So now tell me why, tell me who the player was. Okay. That's all I want to know. I want to know what we missed on.
I know. It's interesting. That supposed Western right winger may have been. It may have been. But you know what?
What?
I really like Caden Gooley. Apparently, like, the strengths of this guy is like he excels in separating opponents from the puck. And everything I read about this guy, and Trevor Timmons was glowing about it, is his skating is fantastic. So when you hear that the guy is a great defenseman and he has great defensive play, but then you talk about his skating ability, it's like there's potential. There's potential. You can make this guy into something.
Yeah.
And they also had Luke Tuck, who they selected, Alex Tuck's brother. And what's interesting is the Canadians have had a lot of kind of skilled players they've drafted, right? And Alex Tuck apparently has a very north-south game, a very simplified game. He's actually going to the U.S. Training camp in a few weeks with a bunch of other Habs prospects.
You mean Luke Tuck?
Luke Tuck, sorry.
Yeah, you said just to make sure.
So, Alex Tuck's brother. So you know what? There were I like Montreal's picks. And one guy I want to talk about, Jan Mysak, who a lot of people said fell to them. So he had a Habs jersey. Like, it wasn't one they must have given him because it was an older style one. And it was smaller. And I'm like, okay, so he must have been a Habs fan. Here's what's interesting. He's a centerman and he's Czech.
Is he centerman?
And I was thinking,
Is he? I've seen him play. I've seen he was a winger as well. I mean, he could have it be both, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he is. Trevor Timmons said he was happy for the pick.
Oh,
and I was thinking, so you're a young centerman, you may be a Habs fan, and you're from the Czech Republic. You must be a Thomas Plekanec fan.
What was on the back of the jersey?
He didn't show it. It was only the front, and I was like, So I like who the Habs got. I like it. And it's Gooley, not Gould. Is there anything else you want to mention when it comes to the Leafs and their picks?
No, not the Leafs and their picks. Just there's two quick signings we didn't get to. I just wanted to bring up. Number one, the Kevin Shattenkirk deal. I don't really understand the Kevin Shattenkirk deal from Anaheim's perspective. Like, what exactly are they trying to get out of? Like, what are the Anaheim Ducks? Like, I don't necessarily think that was a move to make unless he's like a filler guy. Like, I don't really know. It just didn't really make sense to me. What did you think of that?
I want Kevin Shattenkirk's agent so badly.
I mean, he had a lot of attention.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you respect the guy because he turned his career around with the Tampa Bay, sort of stop there, won a cup, got all his money in New York, and then again is getting a boatload of it from Anaheim.
Yeah.
And what's weird is Anaheim before the pandemic was an internal cap team. They don't get a lot of gate if they're not good. Does Anaheim? That and
Right.
also it looks like their arena is always empty because LA traffic sorry, Californian traffic sucks.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. You have defensemen.
You have
Now it's gonna start another Joss Manson to the Leafs, and I don't want it.
no, and they just
I didn't
drafted
expect to do it.
Jamie Drysdale.
Good pick. Yeah, what do you do? They're gonna trade.
Great.
They always do this.
Great
the Ducks.
pick.
Get
Great
these defensemen,
pick.
We're gonna trade them. It's just I hate the Ducks.
That is my only criticism of Ottawa is you should have drafted Jamie Drysdale instead of Jake Sanderson.
All right. What
That's
was the other side?
Justin Schultz. Which
2 years for Washington.
Yeah, they let Radko Gudas walk.
Mm-hmm.
They re-signed Brendan Dillon. Like, they have a semi-decent defense. So now it's John Carlson, Dmitry Orlov, Justin Schultz, and Brendan Dillon as kind of your top four. And then you also have Michael Kepney and Nick Jensen. Sorry.
So I believe it was Niskanen's done this. Reardon himself did it. And now Justin Schultz have done this. Just this sort of between going from Pittsburgh to Washington.
Yeah.
And
there's definitely a couple other players that's not coming to mind right now as I look. I believe Carl Hagelin.
Yeah.
There's players in the past who have done it as well.
I love that stuff. I really, really like it. Okay, one more thing. And there's a specific reason why I wanted to end the show with this, because it's very serious.
Oh.
The Hockey Diversity Alliance and the NHL seem to have parted ways. And the HDA were the first ones to kind of come out and say, we will be working separately from the NHL.
Yeah.
Now, we know they wanted, the NHL to sort of do stuff like money towards helping, diversify the game. We were very clear. It's like they were not making demands. There wasn't this sort of cutthroat thing here. It was really just stuff for the betterment of hockey. The reason we talk about this is because, again, we do not want everyone to forget about why sports leagues all across the world went on protest. Boycotting games and all that, because social change still needs to happen. Mm-hmm. And Will Baldwin tweeted out the perfect tweet that NHL PR is just out the window. This is a terrible look for the NHL. A terrible look.
Do you want my honest opinion?
Sure.
This isn't a surprise.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know what else. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, I can't, I don't want to, I'd rather not quote it because I don't remember off the top of my head. But there was the whole thing of the rumors going around of what the NHL was asking them to sign. Mm-hmm. And it looked unreasonable.
Now, just quickly, I do have the statement from the HDA, which I'll just quickly read here. Quote, the Hockey Diversity Alliance is not satisfied with the NHL's anti-racism work and will no longer operate hand in hand with the league as a result. The HGA is grateful for the support from the public we received. Unfortunately, the support we hoped to get from the NHL was not delivered, and instead the NHL focused on performative public relations effort that seemed aimed at quickly moving past important conversations about race needed in the game. The organization said in a statement obtained by Frank Saravelli on Wednesday. We have waited many months for a response to the common sense HGA pledge we propose, and it is clear that the NHL is not prepared to make any measurable commitment to end systematic racism in hockey, the HGA continued. While we are disappointed, the HGA will operate separate and independent of the NHL and authentically implement education programs and changes to the sport and seek to be role models for the youth in Black and brown communities who want to play hockey. The NHL unveiled a series of anti-racism initiatives in conjunction with the NHLPA in early September, which included mandatory inclusion and diversity training for every player. This is after the HCA statement. Those strategies came less than a week after the HCA presented its plan to players, which laid out the steps recommended after the alliance and caused the players to convince the league to postpone games for 2 days. Seven current and retired NHL players of color founded the HGA, and then of course, the rest of the article isn't really important there, but just mentioning all the members. It was one thing, Alex, that I was very bad. That was from Josh Goldsmith from the Score. It's kind of what I feared a lot from when everything happened, is that after the playoffs, after the draft, after free agency, everyone would kind of forget what was happening.
Adam, 1 second. Just keep talking. I just gotta just do something. 1 second.
Yeah. And it seems that, hello everyone, that the HDA has, kind of called out the NHL on that. And it's just so disappointing to see the league actually sort of, it's weird to say meet expectation here, but that's exactly as we all, Alex, you just said it, and I agree. You almost expected the league to sort of screw it up. Or just maybe it's not them screwing it up, it's them saying, yeah, we're not interested.
Okay. There's the talk, this is the talk that I've heard, is that why do they have to do anything? And I'll give you I'll give you two reasons. Number one, if you are making the claim that your sport is for everyone, yet there is multiple examples that prove otherwise, then yes, you have to do something, or stop saying it. Like, it's very simple. Stop saying, because it's clearly not. My second one, let's break this down. Like, I can break this down even further. Let's break this down to the economics of the NHL and its popularity, because everyone seems so keen on that. Mm-hmm. I have here. So, are we Gen Z? I don't even know. Do you know if we're Gen Z?
I think we are. Okay.
So
we're not millennials. We're too
young
for that.
Yeah. Only Ron Hainsey is a millennial. So the articles, just Gen Z are less interested in most sports properties than general public. All adults, the NHL interest is 38% in the survey. Gen Z, 25%. Do you want to know where that ranks? Second last. Do you know who's in front? What's in front of it?
In here, is this just like general, like all sports, like North American ones, like 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 leagues. So last is WNBA, then the NHL. That's a shame. They're doing really well. Like, you're doing a lot. Okay, yeah,
they are. NHL. The NHL, NASCAR, UFC, MLB, college basketball, esports, college football, NBA, and NFL top the list. So let's break this down from a economic standpoint. it's clear that Gen Z is extremely interested in making sure that people are included, and it's very fair. I agree with that as well. When you don't do that, that leaves them less interested. So they will not interact with, like, this is very basic economics. They won't interact with your league. Therefore, there is less interest, less money.
Mhm.
So if you spend the extra money on this, you will get more money.
Mhm.
Like it's just the plain simple thing. And I understand that's not what the reason they're doing it for. I'm just breaking it down for the people who are so interested in the pure economics of the league.
Yeah, you know what? What always it never
Just
ceases to make
yeah.
me wanna. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we all laughed at Max Kellerman when he said no one cares about hockey. Prove like tell me why. Tell me why he's wrong in Florida. Tell me why
Yeah.
he's wrong in Texas. Other than the
Outside of, like, yeah,
16,000 fans inside and outside of the arena, prove me wrong. In Toronto, thousands of fans inside, thousands of fans outside. Nowhere else.
it's outside of those 6 big markets. No one cares.
Yeah.
And even like in Toronto, the Raptors are. I don't know how long it's going to be until all of a sudden they're Toronto. They may already be Toronto's team.
I was telling you at the beginning of on Wednesday. We were talking about the draft in my reporting sports class, and apparently, like, I was the one asked about. No one else cared that much about the draft in my 25 person class,
Mhm.
and these are people who enjoy sports.
Mhm. There's something I was thinking of, but
Sorry.
can't remember for the life of me. I remember. It never ceases to make me want to rip my hair out when you see the announcement on Twitter, the HTA is separate, right? And I look at the replies, and like, I know what I'm about to see. And you see the one guy they always say the same thing.
Why would
Thank
you
God
do
I
it?
want politics out of sports. And it's like, how many times do you
Okay.
have to scream? This is
Okay.
what's good. So when Lewis Hamilton almost got in trouble for his Brianna arrest,
Yeah.
the murderers of Brianna Taylor, luckily the FIA kind of realized how stupid that was and didn't do anything about it. But somebody said, "Great, get politics out," and Mercedes responded. It's like, "No,
I
it's
saw
human
that.
rights." Like, when are people just gonna realize? It's like, no, it's
No, that's fine.
treat people equally.
Again, and I've said this before. They're just a lot of people at the end of the day are hypocrites, because the same people watching the UFC watched Colby Covington, a UFC fighter, with his gimmick of supporting or whatever, even if it's not, of supporting Donald Trump, had the Make America Great Again hat on an interview after his fight, had Donald Trump on speakerphone after the interview. So you tell me, get politics out of sports, no more national anthems. I don't want the flags in the air. I want to, and all respect to these people. I don't want Luke's troops. I don't want Loop's troops. I don't want no one's troops. No one there, because it's all political. It's turned everything is now political. So I want nothing. I don't want national anthems. I want the game to start at 7:00, and that's it.
By the way, if you're a Ryerson student listening to this, because I know a few of you do, can we stop generalizing anyone who's a white guy who likes sports and not saying
Yeah,
I'll
I'll let you deal with that one, because it's
Can we
it's, you know
just
how I feel.
stop saying everyone who's white and likes sports is
No.
politics? No,
Not allowed to generalize.
some of us
unless it's-
some of us actually do care about this stuff. Some of us people in the thing we're doing it. And it's guys, don't generalize us. That's not cool. We've talked about, we had an entire episode dedicated to this stuff.
We've had multiple episodes where literally whenever it's talked about doing it, but that's okay. It's fine.
I wish Daniel was here too, but hopefully he's here next episode.
I guess we never even addressed Daniel.
But
You know what? Daniel's actually been silent the entire episode if you're listening to this.
No, he's trying to join, but his router just keeps crashing. By the way, is it me or do I sound normal again?
You do actually sound normal again. That's why I asked you, like your jaw, is it better or what's going on there?
The bands are still there. Nothing's changed since the last episode. It's just, I guess I still
The,
gotta
the
isolate
swelling's
more.
gone. A lot of the swelling is gone.
Yeah, I can feel it inside, but it's
still
not
there.
like
Right. You didn't look like Crosby with mumps. I was gonna say it, but I felt bad the first time I saw it. I'm like, I'm not gonna. I don't want to ruin his day, so I'll just wait till he's better.
My mom was laughing at me after she saw the video of that episode.
Oh, that was good. Okay.
Um,
I don't have anything else to say. I am assuming we're both going to double check Twitter.
yeah. Now, normally I hate doing long episodes, but today, because it's free agency, it felt like
It was an
there
hour and a
was,
half.
Yeah.
I said it was just an hour and a half today.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay, cool. I thought we were longer than that.
No.
All right. Who's winning tonight, by the way? The Heat or the LeBron? And
Heat or LeBron? Probably LeBron. The Lake.
Yeah, LA Lakers.
The Lakers.
I don't know. I almost called them the Royals. But I know that's Kansas in the MLB.
I love how you just. Well, I mean, they're more. Yeah, whatever.
It's
LeBron, LeBron and AD, and then anyone else. I do think this series is going to be over tonight. So by the time you listen to this, or by the time it's up, the game's probably going to be over. Good luck to whoever wins. I guess.
Hopefully,
I don't know.
Taylor Hall's a Montreal Canadian by the time you see this.
No, well, I don't like. It'd be a great signing, like you put on Twitter about TJ Brody. I hate Montreal getting better, but it's a great signing.
Mate, sounds like you just quoted me there.
I did.
Or Craig Smith. All right. If you liked this episode, of course you did. Be sure to do all the things. Check out the YouTube version for a visual experience. I don't know how the lighting got, but my mustache is. Instead of just growing it in Movember, I thought I'd have it looking all right and just present it for Movember. Maybe keep it afterwards. Probably
Smart.
not.
That's smart.
If you enjoy, check out the YouTube Instagram. Check out my YouTube channel. A Habs video is coming soon. I just wanted to get on here and see how I sounded, and maybe I can put a nice little thing together. I just don't want to wait for free agency to kind of calm down. Thank you, The Voice, as always, for being a great platform for the show. Check us out on iTunes. Leave a 5-star review. If you didn't like the show, let us know why. We'll work on it. Unless you don't like us talking about politics, it's not politics, it's human decency. On Spotify, follow us there, right? Why not? Hello to Radic, special shout out there. Don't worry, he's a cool guy.
I'm not worried.
I'm his favorite YouTuber.
Okay.
All right.
Okay then. Okay.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye.